Joining me in the studio, we have Andy Taylor-Edwards from the Learning Collective and also from District 14 Youth Theatre. But I am reliably informed that they are changing their name as from when, Andy?
From October time.
From October this year?
Yes.
Okay. You are going to be known as...
we're going to become T Pawb Youth Theatre.
Okay. Is that because obviously now we have this wonderful new art space in Wrexham and you thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if my little theatre group reflected the new space?
Precisely that.
Yeah.
It's smack bang in the middle of town, and it means everybody's house, doesn't it? So
it does, yes.
We're a bit out in the sticks at the moment in Boris, which isn't too much of a problem, but I think being in the centre of town, we're obviously there for more people should they wish to come.
District 14 at the moment.
It's District 14 at the moment, soon to become T Pawb.
Sounds like
Theatre.
District 14. If you're, I don't know, are you a Star Trek fan?
Well, no, there's actually a story behind that.
Because to me it sounds, it's like the bit of space between the Federation and the Klingons. It was always called the neutral zone.
Well,
go on.
What it actually is because we set up in Boris and Gresford. Underneath us, we thought that the Gresford pit disaster, which was the first piece of work we did, was above, and it started in the 14s district, which is where the epicentre of the disaster was.
Okay, so that's how.
But I didn't know it had links to what's it called, the Hunger Games. So that was quite by accident.
Yeah. Oh, so that's how the name came about.
Yeah, and the 14 also kind of represents the target group, really. Teenagers.
Yeah. We'll talk about District 14. You also run something called the Learning Collective. Are the two intertwined? Are they sort of predominantly interlinked?
Yeah, they're exactly run by the same people, but just with a different brand for the youth theatre.
Okay, so what, in a nutshell then, for people that perhaps have never heard of it, what is the Learning Collective?
Okay, well we work with schools across the Wirral, Cheshire, locally in Wrexham Borough, delivering arts and literacy interventions. So drama projects, film projects, GCSE English interventions for students who need a bit of a boost. And we run tuition from our home base as well in Wrexham. So we've got our fingers in a few pies, but essentially it's literacy and the arts.
How long have you been going?
We've been going since June 2016, so we're well into our third year now.
Has it been a good 3 years?
It's been good. I mean, I think we were never. It was the first time my wife and I, who runs the business with me, became self-employed. We'd always worked for local government as teachers, so you get those kind of nervous moments where, you don't necessarily get a guaranteed income, but we both found that really exciting and motivating. It's sometimes it's a bit scary, but most of the time it's really motivating, and it kicks you up the backside and gets you up in the morning.
Yeah. Morning to Katie as well. How is she? She all right?
She's very well. Yes, yeah, she's looking after me.
That's good. That's good to hear. Okay, if people want to learn more about the Learning Collective and also about District 14 as well, Andy, where do they go?
Well, they could go to Facebook and just do a general search on the Learning Collective. We've got a well-followed page there, or they could go to our website, which is www.thelearningcollective.com.
Okay, www.thelearningcollective.com, or if you just do a search on Facebook, find The Learning Collective, you will find the page. A bit later on in the programme, we're going to talk about a forthcoming production of Alice in Wonderland. That's something that I think, Andy, that in its various guises, people probably have seen more than once in their lives, haven't they?
They have, although I never saw it until I chose to do it. So I've been really pleasantly surprised by it. I kind of wrote it off as a bit of a, like, no disrespect, but like a bit of a young kid's play, but it's actually dripping with meaning and all sorts of interpretations. It's been brilliant.
Isn't it funny though how, yes, as you said, you haven't seen it until very, very recently. Some things that have been around forever, yes, and people take for granted that you've seen them, and then you say to them, do you know what, I've only just seen that, and they go, what, you've only just seen that?
I know, it took me 45 years, which I'm not very proud of.
Oh well, you'll get to see it now because you're doing it.
Yes,
so that's good.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, www.thelearningcollective.com, or just do a general search on Facebook for The Learning Collective, and you will find them. Tell us about District 14 then. So this is a little youth theatre group.
Yeah, well, we've got 18 young people between the age of 9 and 16. They're a very normal group of kids, and I don't say that to demean them. They're brilliant young people who, rather than sitting in their rooms playing all sorts of Xbox games, they actually take a step out of the house and come and be creative every Wednesday at the brilliant Rock 2 Studios in Boris. And we're not a happy clappy group. There's no disrespect to musical theatre groups who are brilliant and do their own thing. We use drama as a way to get them to become more self-aware, to become more aware of the world they live in, to build confidence, to build soft skills, collaboration, teamwork and so on. And once a year we'll do a performance as well. So we do like a live performance, but it's not dominated by rehearsal. We do lots of learning workshops as well, just to make them great people and great learners, really.
Are there young people that have ever had experience of drama before, or for some of them, is this a completely new ball game?
Yeah, for most of them, it's completely new experience, particularly as beyond primary school, drama seems to be falling out of secondary curricula at an alarming rate. So yeah, when I say normal, I mean they come in with not really any past experience, and it's just an absolute pleasure to work with real children on real issues which affect their world.
So what's the age for anybody listening that's got children and they're thinking, I'd love to get them involved with the Rock 2 Studios in Boris and also get them involved with District 14. What's the age range, Andy?
Well, it changes. The world changes for us in October when we move to T Pawb. So we'll be introducing a juniors group for 6 to 11-year-olds. And we'll then immediately after that, on the same evening, we'll have a seniors group for 11 to 18-year-olds. So they become the seniors. So I guess one of the frustrations at the moment is that I kind of set up the age group to be a little bit broad. So we have to kind of play it a little bit safe, where I really would like some of our older ones running towards some more kind of gritty issues. I have to bear in mind that I've got 7 or 8-year-olds, and conversely, where the young ones probably want to be quite fantastical and maybe a bit dafter, I have to consider that the older ones won't enjoy that. So I've kind of diluted what I can do. So I'm really pleased to kind of split those groups and be much more focused on those particular age groups' needs.
Even the ones that have never done drama before, as soon as they get in there and as soon as they hit the stage, do they just completely embrace it and just go with it and have the most fun that they can?
They do after the event, but of course it's quite a big step for some of these children who've never performed in front of 150 or 200 people in a live performance. It's a totally different skill set, massive amount of organisation.
I think you and I probably, if somebody said to us when we were little, you're going to be performing in front of 250 adults, I think we'd have probably run a mile, wouldn't we?
It's scary. So you have to manage that, and whilst the director me is getting more and more angsty and stressed out, you've got to be really careful you don't transmit that to the students. So I quite often take a walk out of the room every half an hour or so just to blow off some steam privately round the corner. And then back, and I'm back to being the swan with my legs beating heavily under the water, of course, but they don't see that.
So from October, District 14 will be no more, and you will be known as the T Pawb Youth Theatre Group.
Yeah, we're giving up the name and putting it into T Pawb, which I think is a brilliant idea. And I think we're really lucky to have it. I know I had some teething problems, but what doesn't? It's new, it's big, and it's exciting. So
the move to T Pawb, was that to just get more of the community involved, just to make the whole thing more inclusive?
Yeah, as I say, we're a bit out in the sticks in Gresford, Boris area. It's not on a bus route, for example. It's definitely not within walking distance of anywhere. So straight away, you're reliant on parents bringing you there, and that's not always so easy for some people who rely on buses. So it is an aim to be more inclusive and to be more Wrexham as opposed to somewhere in the suburbs of Wrexham.
Fab. Okay, so that will be happening in October.
Yes.
Okay, Alice in Wonderland then coming up, and that tune from Nina Simone, that will definitely be in there, won't it, somewhere?
Yeah, it's the only piece of published music that's in it, and the rest of it has been composed especially for the show.
So is this Alice in Wonderland? Alison? Who's Alison? Alice in Wonderland traditional styly or modern styly?
totally modern style, big time. So it's, I mean, the joy of it is you can make whatever you wish of it. I mean, there's some crazy theories out there as to what it's about. Lewis Carroll, who wrote it, never actually divulged what the meaning was. I don't even know if he knew himself, but some literary theorists have said it could be a metaphor for childbirth. Think rabbit holes and rising waters and amniotic fluid and so on. Some people said it was, especially the Queen of Hearts, a criticism of British colonialism, who were obviously marauding around the world, spreading their ideology. Other people say it's just a girl asserting her confidence as she's growing up. It's her finding herself through many, many adventures in Wonderland, some which frustrate her, others which delight her. But ultimately, she gets quite irate by the lack of justice there, and she finds herself by putting a stop to it all.
So tell us about your modern take on this classic tale then.
Well, it's a critique of modern education. So obviously, Alice in Wonderland is heavy with imagination and all sorts of creative possibilities. But our version starts in a Victorian schoolroom. And I say Victorian because it could be 2018, because not much has changed in that we expect students to come in, sit behind desks, generally submissively while they listen to somebody at the front. Personally, I think we should be moving way beyond that. So it's a critique of really too many students going under the radar, and it's not a criticism of teachers, who are the most wonderful, hard-working profession you can imagine, but more of a critique of the constant goalposts that are shifted by central government, which don't really give anybody time to embed good practice and to reflect. It's too fast, it's too busy, and people get lost. And Alice is one of those students who gets lost under the radar because her personal interest in learning is to be creative, is to be on her feet, is to do things, is to think. And so whether you think it's a daydream or reality and she slips into another dimension is not so important, really, because Wonderland gives her a vehicle to exercise her creativity and imagination, and find out who she is, who is the real Alice, and Wonderland enables her to do that.
So people watching this who've got children in school or in college or in uni at the moment, they'll be sort of sitting there thinking, yeah, do you know, I can identify with that. Or even in school, college, you know, I was that student who found things a little bit hard at first and had to just carry on, and hopefully I would muddle through in the end. Yeah,
and I say it's definitely not a criticism of teachers who are amazing and work so hard. They tell you themselves how frustrated they are. That there's too much political interference with education ultimately, and we just go around in circles. And what worries me more is this return to 3-hour exams at the end of a course. Yeah. So they take young people right to the edge of a cliff. You know, what if you're poorly that day? What if something's going on in your life that day? That worries me, because it's like teaching elephants to climb trees. Students are a variety of different animals, if you want to use that metaphor.
Yeah, and some people, as you said, you know, I mean, I was never great with exams, but some people just thrive on having that nice mix of having, you know, some exams, but also lots and lots of coursework as well. But hey, we could. So, has this been fun to do? And all your wonderful participants, have they really enjoyed it? Have they really embraced it?
They love it because there's so much daftness involved. So the challenge for me as a director has been to just get them to drop their shoulders, to relax, to look like they're enjoying it on stage, and, you know, get rid of that kind of angst about, will I remember my next line, where do I go next? So at the moment, it's probably not so much fun for them because it's a week and a half before the show, and it's incredibly structured, and do this, do that, do this, just so I can get them to a point where they can totally relax on stage and they're fully confident.
When they do forget their lines, because obviously it will happen sometimes, do they ever, and this is the beauty of young people, do they ever improvise so that actually, you know, they may have forgotten the exact line, but they can come up with something, because they can think fast on their feet, so they can come up with something that actually sounds so similar to the original line, and you're thinking, where on earth did that come from? Because it's almost as if, well, they've forgotten their lines, but for anyone that was watching, they would just think, oh, that was written into the script.
That's right. So, don't worry about getting one or two words wrong from a line. As long as you communicate the general sense of it, no one will ever know. And they'll only know if you kind of look scared towards the director in the audience who's got his hand in his head at that point. Yeah. But just relax. Generally, they're brilliant because they're so alert, they're alive to every situation for every second they're on stage. And there'll always be somebody, even if you don't make up a different alternative of the line you forgot, who'll step in and carry the action forward. So that's one of them amazing skills drama teaches.
And obviously they make friends because they're together for so long. And that's what friends are for. With friends help each other out in life. And that means as well that friends help each other out on stage, don't they, if they need to?
Absolutely. And because of the kind of issue-based work we do, they form real deep relationships because we don't skirt away from challenging issues. We've recently looked at body image issues and that it requires a real lot of honesty. And the group is so chilled out and so accepting of other people that everybody knows each other inside out. So there's a really great trust.
Before we tell people when and where, there are a number of local businesses and companies that have very kindly lended their support to this. Do you want to give them a few mentions and say hello to a few people?
I do. So there's 5 local businesses who've been brilliant in supporting us. One of them is Kevin Carpets, who kindly donated a load of artificial grass to us free of charge. So thank you to Kevin Carpets. We've got Sophia Ledil Face and Body Art. She's going to be there on the evening helping us with makeup, but also offering a good deal for people showing up to the show if they want their face painted in an Alice-esque kind of way. We've got Camilla Hair Studio, who are loaning us one of their salon chairs for our play. They're based in T Pawb. We've got the mannequins from Esme's Children's Wear, which is also in T Pawb, and also the lovely people at Just Desserts and Milkshakes in Wrexham.
Sarah
Sarah is doing a Wonderland waffle deal.
Lovely. Morning, Sarah. Hope you're well. Hope you're listening. Hope you've enjoyed the show. A waffle Wonderland deal.
Yes.
Sounds nice.
Yes, it does.
Sounds lovely. Okay, so if people want to be transported and enchanted and just taken to a land of nonsense and gobbledygook, where and when can they see this, Andy?
So we're at T Pawb.
Yep.
I believe it's the first ever live theatre performance. They've had dance and comedy recently, but I think it's the first live theatre performance there at T Pawb, and it's on Saturday the 29th of September at 7 p.m, and then we do a matinee the day after on Sunday the 30th at 2 p.m, and the show lasts for 1 hour and there's no interval.
Okay, so the 29th of September and the 30th of September.
That's right.
And that's a bit special because it's the first ever live theatre performance at T Pawb. Mentioning, of course, that District 14 will very soon morph into the T Pawb Theatre Group. Do you remember Morph?
When you said Morph, I liked the little angry one that was with him.
That was great, wasn't it? Tony Hart and Morph. I thought they were fabulous. So
they're due a comeback.
They are. They should have a comeback. So District 14 will morph into T Pawb Youth Theatre. When in October does that happen? Do we know yet?
We do know. We start on 10th of October, Wednesday the 10th of October. And it is, if I can just look at my notes, it will be for the juniors aged 6 to 10 between 6 and 7, and for the seniors aged between 11 and 18 between 7 and 8:30 on Wednesday the 10th of October. Great. In the T Pawb Theatre.
Fantastic. Okay. If people want to get involved in that, or if they just want to get involved with anything to do with the Learning Collective or with T Pawb Youth Theatre Group, as it will soon be known from the 10th of October, what's the best way for people to get in touch, Andy?
One of 100 ways, really. So they can phone directly to our Wrexham number, which is 01978 851 007, or they can email learningcollective@icloud.com, or they can message us on Facebook just by tapping in a search on the Learning Collective. We're also on Instagram under The Learning Collective, or you can go to our website, which is thelearningcollective.com.
And once again, those dates, if people want to pop along to TPAUB and see the wonderful Alice in Wonderland.
Sure, it's Saturday the 29th of September between 7 and 8, and then the following day, Sunday the 30th of September between 2 and 3 p.m.
And how much are tickets, do we know?
Tickets are £5.
Lovely, okay. I hope it goes really, really well. It's been great this morning. Thank you for coming in. Have you enjoyed it?
I loved it last time, and I loved it even more this time.
Good. Next time we see you, you will be under the new name of TPAUB Youth Theatre.
We will be,
Which will be good.
And thank you for inviting me in.
Oh, it's a pleasure. We'll see you soon, Andy. Take care.
Thank you.
Give my love to everybody, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks
Dave.
very much.